makeup friends, today we're going to be taking a look at the new Kōdanne palette from Adept Cosmetics. Let's get into this. As always, I want to start off by welcoming you back to my channel, or if you are new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel, we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. Now, obviously, the eye makeup that I'm wearing here comes from this palette, and on my lips is Cream Cup from MAC. Now, let's dive into this palette. All right, so here is what the outer packaging looks like. The palette is made of upcycled vegan faux leather, and then when you open it up, it is a magnetic palette, so all of these pans will pop out and you can reorganize them as you see fit. This palette does offer a variety of finishes, so there are 2 matte shades, 5 intense shimmers, 1 duochrome, and 2 multi-chromes. And let me tell you, these shadows are beautiful. As I'm sitting down to film now, I've already done the eye swatches. Yeah, I damn near fell out of my chair on multiple occasions because these are so beautiful. In terms of information for you, this is going to be available on May 29th, starting at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you are in my area, which is Eastern Standard Time, that translates to 2 p.m. At that same time, there's also going to be pre-order available for Ninhydrin and Plain Jane with an estimated shipping time of about September to mid-November. If you order this as a pre-order and order those other palettes or one of those other palettes, everything is going to ship in the fall. Whereas if you do purchase this on its own now, they're estimating about a 35-day shipping time. Now the cool thing is you can buy this palette just as it is and it's going to cost $61, or you can swap out one of the 2 matte shades for any of the other single shades that Adept offers, and the price will be $64. Now the customization is only going to work if you are purchasing the palette at this time. If you're pre-ordering it, say you're trying to bundle it with Plain Jane or Ninhydrin, you can't customize it at that point. It's just going to come as is. Now the brand has said that they've ordered more palettes this go round than what they did when Ninhydrin initially launched. If you tried to get your hands on Ninhydrin on launch day, you might have been rather frustrated because it sold out in seconds. So hopefully this time, with them having ordered more palettes, we're not going to run into that same issue. And to that point, I mean, obviously it hasn't launched yet, so I'm holding it. It was gifted to me. I just want to make that very clear, and I do want to say thank you to Sandra over at Adept Cosmetics for thinking of me and sending this out to me. I truly appreciate it. Now, the last little bit of information to share with you is that this is going to be restricted to Canadian and US shoppers. So there's not going to be any international shipping because of some issues that they've had in the past. And I guess there is one final point to make, and that is that I do have an affiliate code with Adept. It's simply Kara, and that's going to save you 10% on any purchase that you make. All right, so that's going to do it for information. And now I'd like to show you some arm swatches that I took outside in direct sunlight, and then we're going to move into the eye swatch portion of this video. Now there is no way that I can describe these shades with any sort of accuracy, so I'm just going to let the swatches do the talking for us. But suffice it to say, these shadows are stunning. They're absolutely beautiful. The shimmer that's in there is just so intense, and yet there's no glitter in these shadows whatsoever. They look glittery, but they're not. It's magic is what it is. All right, so let's move on to the eye swatches. All right, I am so excited to see these on the eyes. I've got my brushes set up. I'm going to walk you through what my plan of attack is. So for the 2 matte shadows, I'm going to use brushes that are very similar to each other. On the one hand here, we have the Sigma E25 blending brush, and over here we have one from MAC. This is the 217. They've got very similar bristle cuts and shape, so they should produce the same effect on the eyes. Likewise, for the shimmer shadows, I'm going to be using 2 different flat shader brushes. I used to have 2 of this exact same brush, but I am damned if I know where the other one is. So we're going to use this one. This is from Lottie London, And then this one over here is from Delium Tools. This is the number 773 Shading Blender. To clean them off in between, I've just got a very quick fix over here. This is from Quo Beauty. It's the waterless brush cleanser. Just has a rapid dry formula, so I can just spray it, wipe it on a towel, and then go from there. To remove the swatches, I do have makeup wipes as well as cotton pads and micellar water. I'll make sure that everything is taken off, that my eyelid is dry, and then I'm going to go in and prime with the Urban Decay priming potion. The reason I'm going to use this one is because it dries clear, so it's not going to affect the color of any of these shadows, and also it's not super sticky, so it just produces a really nice clean canvas, but doesn't alter the color or the effect of the shadows in any way. So that is what we're going to do. So let's get into it. What I think I'm going to do is start with the two matte shades in here and then move on to the sparkly ones. So up first we have this gorgeous bright pink shade over here. This is ACM 33, and I'm going to pick that up on the MAC 217 brush. But let's just go ahead and start by patting it on the lid, and then I will get to blending. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I didn't have to dip back in and we have full opacity. That is so impressive. And I feel like I could continue blending it. I've run out of real estate. This shadow is so impactful. There are no patchy areas. Nothing is just sort of shifting around with the brush. That's gorgeous. That's an absolute dream. I am going to pick up a little bit more though, just to see what happens and just try to build that shade up just a little bit on the actual lid. And because this is so pigmented, I can see already just in doing this that it's not really intensifying all that much because it's already intense. There is a little bit more pigmentation because it's not as blended out, but that is an incredible matte shadow. All right, that means I'm excited for ACM 34, which is this deep teal shade over here. I'm gonna pick that one up on the Sigma brush. It's almost rude how good these shadows are. That's incredible. Again, no having to dip back in. That's impressive. Again though, I'm just gonna try to build it up on the lid just to see what happens, but again, not much is happening because it's already so opaque. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. Okay, well, the two mattes are a winner. Oh my goodness, and they play really nicely together as well. Now, I will say there is some fallout on my face from that teal, but to be fair, when I picked it up the second time, I didn't tap it off because I wanted to see what would happen, and it did produce a little bit of fallout. If you do a little bit of tapping first, you're not going to experience that because I didn't experience that, so I assume you won't either. For example, there's no fallout from the pink shade. It doesn't produce a ton of kick up in the pan. There is some, but totally manageable. Just make sure that you tap off the excess before applying. Now, for the lols, I know we're going to do full eye swatches with these shimmery shadows, but I just want to show you that you don't just have to do a matte or a shimmer look. You can apply the shimmers on top of the mattes and it totally changes how they pull and what the shift is. So let's just go ahead. We'll do ACI 26 right here over top of the pink. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna miss my eyelid completely. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so pretty. And then over the deep teal, let's go with this deep teal shimmery shade here. Oh my goodness. I look like a magical peacock. That is stunning. Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't want to wash that off. That's beautiful. And also super simple. Like that's the joy of these palettes, is that the shadows are so beautiful that you don't need to do super intricate looks with them. You do one of these shades and just throw some bronzer in the crease, and people are going to be asking you what you're wearing. Like it doesn't matter where you go, somebody is going to ask you. And these are just so beautiful. What if I pop that onto the center? That's the shade Kōdanne. Like it just keeps going. It just keeps getting better and better. Okay, I need to stop while we're ahead because we've only done 2 and there are 8 more. So I'm gonna wash this off and we're gonna go back in with more. All right, now it is time for the sparkly shadows. So I'm gonna start off with my left eye and this shade here called ACI 26. And then on my right eye, I'm gonna apply ACI 27. That is such a pretty, like one and done kind of shadow. It just catches the light so nicely and has just a little bit of a shift in it. But it's just such a sparkly, pretty shade. For giggles, I'm going to pick some up on my finger because that's how you're going to get the most intensity out of these shadows. Oh my goodness. I have the feeling that this video is going to be much like my other Adept Cosmetics videos where I just sit here and drool throughout the entire thing. But can you blame me? Look at that. That is beautiful. But I'm super excited for the next one because let me tell you, when I swatched this on my arm, I nearly fell over. So this is one of those like hold on to your butts kind of shades because it is sumptuous. So this is ACI 27. I really hope that my camera will pick up the shift in this because it is incredible. Now this one has a slightly different texture than the one on my other eye, so you might even be able to see that in just how easy it is to apply with the brush. And I don't feel like I need to go in with my finger to build up the intensity of it. It's also just not as foiled, but it is, oh, see, she's gorgeous. There is a little tiny bit of fallout on my face. I'm just gonna take care of that or smear it into my skin. I was trying so hard not to. There we go, crisis averted. I love this shadow. Oh my god. So it looks like straight up green. Well, no, in the viewfinder it looks orange. Huh. That is some sorcery right there because it looks green I look, it looks burgundy slash copper. Let's see if we can catch the shift in here somehow. This is such a multifaceted shade. Like, there's bronze and there's green and it's grungy, and I don't know if it's correct, but it makes me think of steampunk for some reason. I don't know why, probably that like antique bronzy kind of look. But it's so beautiful, and I don't think I have anything like this in my collection. Oh, I love it. So now we're going to go in with ACI 28 and ACI 29. All right, so this is ACI 28. Oh my goodness. That is so sparkly, but like it's not glittery. But it looks like it is. It's pure sorcery is what it is. Like, it is so pretty. Like, talk about impactful shadows. That is stunning. But let's move on to ACI 29 and see what she brings to the table. Like, I'm doing a terrible job at reviewing these shadows because I don't know what to say. They've gone and they've snatched all the words from my vocabulary. Because just when I think a shade can't get any prettier, the next one comes along and here we are. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, when I first applied this one, it looked blue to me, but now in comparison to this one, it looks much more like a bluey silver. They're both stunning, but you can see the difference between the two shadows. I will say that in the pan, this one has more of like, almost like a spongier kind of texture. Like there's a little bit of give to it in the pan, whereas this one's a little bit more hard packed, but it doesn't like translate into any difference in the application. They both apply beautifully with a brush. They're both blending out nicely. They're just slightly different texture, but like, bury me in Adept Cosmetics. Like there it is. I don't even care which shade, just like paint me. When I die, paint me in Adept Cosmetics, stick me in the ground for all eternity, and I will be very happy. This is beautiful. All right, next up we have the shade Kōdanne, and then we have ACI 31. I'm in chartreuse heaven over here. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Can I just tell you, like, I am so grateful to have received this palette from Adept. I mean, I gladly would have paid money for it, but I'm just so freaking grateful. I love this so much. It's such a pretty shade. Like, it rides the line between gold and lime green, and it's such a pretty shade. And again, I think that this is very unique to my collection. Oh my goodness, I love that so much. And I have the feeling I'm gonna love ACI 31 as well, because even in the pan, she's stunning. So this is one of those like more spongy kind of textures again. And these ones tend to do better being applied by the finger, but I'm going to pick some up on the brush and just see how we get on that way, and then I can build it up with my finger. So that's how it looks just with the brush. So it's more of like a fine wash of color. But then if I pick it up on my finger, it ends up looking the same on the eye as it does in the pan. And that is to say, she's knock your socks off beautiful. I mean, really, slap me on the ass and call me done. That is gorgeous. It's moments like these where I hate having hooded eyes, because really all I want to do is just walk around like this and just like show off my eyeshadow. I would look crazed, but that's what I'm tempted to do because my eyelids just swallow themselves and they hide so much of this beauty. But my God, that's gorgeous. And like this pattern on top of either of the mattes, it's going to be so pretty, especially on top of that like teal color. It's just going to change the whole gamut of what's going on. I love it so much. Okay, we've got 2 more. Let's do this. And now we are on to the last 2, ACI 32 and ACI 33 over here. This one is looking very red in the viewfinder, but when I look at it, it looks very much more like a brown / a really deep kind of copper shade. So again, that reflect is really showing through. I'm done. Like, how do I describe this? I continue to hold while I try to formulate a thought in my brain. That is so pretty. This is like a perfect fall winter shade, and as you can see, it could just be a one and done. Like it blends out so nicely. Again, it's not as foiled as the others, but that's not to say that it's dull or flat at all. There's just this like little tiny bit of shimmer in there that just catches the light and bounces that like purple kind of undertone back. I'm amazed at how it looks on the eyes versus how it looks in the pan. Because in the pan, like I said, it looks like a really, really deep, almost like rusty kind of tone or really deep bronze of some sort. But on the eye, it's very purple. And it's stunning. Oh my goodness, we have one more. ACI 33. Here we go. Chef's kiss. Like my hat is off to Adept. I don't have any other helpful comments to make. I don't have any criticisms. I don't have any critiques. I don't have any suggestions on improvement. These are stunning. They're so beautiful. Again, it blends out so nicely. You can just use this on its own and it does not look boring by any stretch of the imagination. And there you have it, guys. There are my rather incoherent thoughts on these shadows. Suffice it to say, I am absolutely blown away. I think they are stunning. Now, as you can see, I did create an actual eye look using this palette, so I'm just going to quickly walk you through what that process was. So first of all, I started off with ACM 34, which is that really deep matte teal shade. I applied that all over the lid and also blended it into the transition area as well as the crease. And then using a rather precise brush, I picked up ACM 33 and I used that to buff out the edges of that matte teal shade. On the inner portion of my eyelid, I applied ACI 31, just using my finger and tapping that into place. And then I used a smaller brush and picked up ACI 33 and placed that in the outer half of my lid. I used the two matte shades to line my lower lashes, starting off with ACM 34 and then using the bright pink to buff that out. And then finally for my inner corner, I used the shade ACI 26. So there you have it, guys. I have to say, I am so impressed with Adept Cosmetics. I mean, I thought that they had reached their pinnacle with Plain Jane, and then they came out with Ninhydrin, and I thought, okay, well, the bar's been raised a little bit higher, but surely that's got to be the cap to it. And now we have Kōdanne, and it is beautiful. I do have to say that there are 2 shades less in this palette than in the previous 2, so it does look a little bit smaller than them because it has fewer shadows in there, but it's still this beautiful selection of shades that, again, especially with that inclusion of the mattes and now with this new option to actually customize it yourself, it becomes that much more versatile. I mean, we did see the inclusion of some mattes in Ninhydrin, and I will quickly show you that palette as well. So there you have it here, and they have the matte shade here, and then this one on this side. And with Plain Jane, there are no matte shades. So as much as I love Plain Jane, and trust me, I do, I really like the inclusion of these matte shadows in these palettes, just to make it a little bit more of a standalone palette. And the color selection of these matte shadows is perfect. I mean, with Ninhydrin, with the 2 grungier sort of mattes, it really worked with the overall aesthetic of that palette. And certainly with Kōdanne, having the teal in there and having that bright pink really plays up the other tones that you see in those multi-chrome and shimmer shadows. I personally don't see any need to tweak this palette, but I love that the option is there if you wanted to switch out 1 or 2 of those matte shadows. All right, but with all of that said, I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.